completed crocheting the top part of my jacket. I have worked a total of 11 rows at this point, and I have 1, 2, 3 cables and one that's going to start to create now a total of 4 cables for this size. Okay, also what I want to mention is, see how even though we have given an extra stitch on each of the 2 front pieces, they do not go over each other. And this happens because, as we mentioned in the beginning of the video, when we work cables in crochet, our work tends to shrink a little bit when you work front post double crochet. So we need to help our project to come close exactly as we need it to be. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to measure our piece to make sure it's correct, and from the one side to the other I have exactly my 24 centimeters, and for the sleeve I have the 9 centimeters that I need over here. Okay, now what we want to do is we're going to join the 2 sleeves to close it, and then we're going to work only around the body. So we're going to attach those 2 sides together and these 2 sides together as well. In order to do that, I need my project to be at the point where I have completed working the wrong side of the project, and I'm going to start crocheting on the good side. So if you're not at that point, please go ahead and work an extra row if you need to. Okay, because when we close this sleeves on the good side, all the stitches around are going to be on the good side. When you close the sleeves on the wrong side, all the stitches are not going to be on the same side, okay, on the same direction. So I have completed crocheting my 11th row in the wrong side, and now we're going to start our new row to start joining. So as always, start with a chain 2 and turn your work on your good side. Work 1 half double crochet in the first stitch. In the next 2 stitches, work your cable, so skip the next stitch, put your hook in the stitch after that. Okay, put your hook around the double crochet and work a front post double crochet. Now yarn over once, go back to the stitch that you skipped, put your hook around the double crochet and work a front post double crochet. Now again, work 1 half double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. So keep working in the same exact way you were working so far. Once I crochet this cable in the next 3 half double crochet, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue. Now I have worked all 3 of my cables. I've worked the 3 half double crochet after the last one, and what we're going to do now is we're going to create our new cable. Now what I did in the 11th row, when I was on the wrong side, when the 5 stitches that I need for the 5 stitches that I need to create each cable, so when I saw my 5 stitches, what I did on the wrong side is on the 2 stitches that I'm going to work my cable, I worked 2 back post double crochet. But if you're afraid that you're going to get confused, you don't have to do that on the wrong side, and go ahead in the good side right after you worked your 3 half double crochet. Just go ahead and work your cable right after the 3 half double crochet. Both are correct, okay, if you're afraid that you're going to get confused. So yarn over once, skip the next stitch, put your hook in the stitch after that, put your hook around the double crochet or the half double crochet if you haven't done this step in the previous row. Okay, and work a front post double crochet, yarn over once, put your hook around the stitch that you skipped and work a front post double crochet. Work 1 half double crochet in the next stitch. And now we have reached the chain 2 space where we are going to join. Okay, so what we want to do now, let me just zoom out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. See how we have our jacket like this? Okay, we want to attach the 2 sides together to form the sleeve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stitch marker out from the chain 2 space, put your hook in the chain 2 space and work 1 half double crochet, yarn over once, put your hook in the same chain 2 space, take the stitch marker out from the back chain 2 space and put your hook in that chain 2 space as well. Grab the yarn, pull it through both chain 2 spaces, and we have 3 loops which we are going to close together to form the half double crochet. Once you have done that, turn your work and work 1 half double crochet on the chain 2 space in the back. Okay, so let's see what we did. We worked 1 half double crochet in the chain 2 space of the front piece, 1 half double crochet that I joined the 2 chain 2 spaces together, so the 2 sides, okay. Then I turned on the back piece and I worked another half double crochet in the chain 2 space in here. And here we have our sleeve, okay. Now from here on we're going to work 1 half double crochet in every stitch on the back side of our jacket up until we reach the stitch marker. So go ahead and start from the first half double crochet and keep working 1 stitch in every stitch up until the stitch marker. I have completed crocheting the back side with a total of 36 half double crochet, and now it's time to close the other sleeve as well. So we want to join those 2 sides together. Now we are on the back side of the jacket, although in order for us not to get confused, I'm going to mention this as my front piece of the increase and this right here as the back piece, okay? So take out your stitch marker from the chain 2 space and work 1 half double crochet in the chain 2 space of the front piece. Now yarn over once, put your hook in the chain 2 space in the same chain 2 space, take the stitch marker from the back piece, put your hook in that chain 2 space as well. So now take the yarn and take it through both chain 2 spaces. We have 3 loops which we are going to close together to form the half double crochet. Now turn your work onto the back piece to work 1 half double crochet in the chain 2 space of the back piece. Although this is the front side, okay, so just don't get confused with what I'm trying to say over here. So let's see what we did. We have worked 1 half double crochet in the chain 2 space, 1 half double crochet closing the 2 chain 2 spaces together, then we turned to the back chain 2 space and we worked 1 more half double crochet right in here and we closed this sleeve as well. Now we want to start crocheting on the front side, and we want to create the cable as well, but please you have to count your stitches so your cables are in the same spot on both front pieces. Right here when we made the cable, right after that we worked half double crochet and then we worked in the chain 2 space. So after working in my chain 2 space on this side, I again want to work 1 half double crochet in the next stitch, and then I'm going to work my cable. So skip the next stitch, put your hook around the next stitch and work a front post double crochet, yarn over once, go back to the stitch that you skipped, put your hook around it and work 1 front post double crochet. Okay, so again after this cable, work your 3 half double crochet, cable, 3 half double crochet, and so on. Once I finish my row, I'm going to turn my video back on and I'm going to explain how we're going to work the rest of the body off camera. I have completed crocheting my row. This is what we have at this point on the one side. On the other side, now we have finished working increases and we're going to work to complete the body of the jacket. So from here on we're working 1 stitch in every stitch. So we're going to work off camera. We keep working our cables in the same exact spots that they have been made, okay? And when we work now the first row after the closing of the sleeves, you want to work 1 half double crochet in each of the new stitches right over here, okay? So we work one stitch in every stitch. We keep making our cables, and for this size I want to work for up until the total length of the jacket is about 21 to 22 centimeters. Once I reach at that point, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to work the rib stitch in the end. We're going to work the sleeves together. We're going to work the ribbing right here to create the buttonholes as well, and then a few rows of rib stitch around the neckline to close up over here the opening of the neckline a little bit to make it warmer, to make the jacket warmer. Okay, so keep working one stitch in every stitch. Once I reach at that point, I'm going to turn my video back on. I have completed crocheting for the total length that I wanted. I have reached the 22 centimeters, and at this point, from the beginning to the end, I have crocheted a total of 28 rows. Okay, so I have my 22 centimeters, and what we're going to do now is we're going to crochet about 3 centimeters of rib stitch in the end. Now what I would like to mention is that you don't have to follow the same exact measurements for the length that I have for my jackets. You can go ahead and make it the length that you prefer, because the 22 centimeters is from your neck down to your waist. So if you want to make your jacket longer, you can go ahead and do it. If you want to make shorter, you can go ahead and do it. If you want to make the rib stitch longer than what I'm going to do, you can also do it. There's no right or wrong here. It's what you like better. It's what you like to have as a result. But the charts that I post, you can use as a guide, and from there on, work up your own patterns in your own jacket the way that you like it. Okay, so after completing my 28 rows, we're going to start the first row for the rib stitch. Okay, after my last half double crochet, we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, which counts as our first double crochet. Yarn over once and turn your work. Now because the 3 chains count as my first double crochet, I'm going to skip the first stitch of the row. Put your hook in the second stitch. Now because we're working plain double crochet, we're not pulling backwards or anything, any stitches. We're just crocheting regularly in the loops of every stitch. Okay, so skip the first stitch, put your hook in the second one and work 1 double crochet. Double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next one, okay, so keep working 1 double crochet in every stitch up until you reach on the other side, up until you finish the row. Once I crochet in the last stitch of the row, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue. I have completed crocheting my row with 1 double crochet in every stitch from the beginning to the end. Now we're going to start the second row by chaining 2. 1, 2. And the reason that I chain 2 is because I'm going to be working front posts and back posts, and because the height of every stitch is as tall as a half double crochet, this is why I start with a chain 2 rather than a chain 3. Okay, so chain 2, turn your work, but I also start with a half double crochet. So right here in the very first stitch, work 1 half double crochet. Now starting from the next stitch, we're going to work 1 front post, 1 back post. So this is my next stitch, and I'm going to work a front post by putting my hook from the front to the back on the right side of the stitch, and bring your hook back to the front again on the left side. See, we're pulling outwards the stitch and work a double crochet. Next stitch, I'm going to work a back post. So put your hook from the back to the front on the right side of the stitch and bring it out to the back again, so you're pulling backwards the stitch, and work a back post double crochet. The next stitch is going to be a front post, so put your hook from the front to the back on the right side, to the front again on the left side, and work a front post, double crochet. The next stitch is going to be a back post, so put your hook from the back to the front on the right side, to the back again on the left side, and work a back post. So keep repeating those two steps. One front post, double crochet. The next stitch is going to be a back post, double crochet. Okay, and this is how it looks at this point. One front post, one back post, and keep repeating up until you reach the end, where the second stitch before the end is going to be either a front post or a back post, and the last stitch, which is a chain 3 that I started the previous row with double crochet, I'm going to turn my video back on to work our last half double crochet in this stitch. Once I finish, I'm going to turn my video back on. I'm almost done with my row, so the second before the last stitch was a back post, double crochet. And the last stitch, which is the chain 3 that I started my previous row, count from the bottom to the top and put your hook in that third chain and work one half double crochet. So this is how my work looks like at this point. Now we're going to start one more row with the rib stitch, so chain 2 and turn the work, yarn over once, and put your hook in the first stitch, in the very first one, and work one half double crochet. Now what I want to do is I want to keep the same direction of the stitches to keep making the rib stitch. So the first stitch here, it seems as if it's going, as if it's coming outwards. So this is a front post double crochet. The next stitch that's hidden right here in the back, see, this is a back post double crochet. So this is an easy way to figure out your stitches. Okay, so since the first stitch over here is a front post, I'm going to work a front post double crochet again. And because they're worked in the same exact way that we did in the previous row, I'm not going to go step by step again, okay? Then now the next stitch is a back post, but because the stitch is not that visible, just pull up your stitches so you can see the stitch and pull it backwards, okay? And work your back post double crochet. Yarn over once. Your next stitch is a front post double crochet. The next stitch is a back post, so pull up the stitches so you can see where to put your hook, okay? And work a back post double crochet. Now keep working one front post, one back post up until you reach the end, where the second before last stitch, I can see over here, it's a back post double crochet. And the last stitch of the row is going to be my half double crochet. So once I reach the end of my row, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue. I'm almost done crocheting my row. The second before the last stitch, as I mentioned before I turned the video off, was a back post double crochet. And the last stitch for the row, which is this one over here, it's my half double crochet. I'm going to work one half double crochet in the last stitch. Now at this point, my rib stitch is about 2.5 centimeters, starting right over here where I started working my double crochet. So I'm going to work one more row for the rib stitch, and now again, it's what you like, what you prefer. If you prefer the rib stitch to be this short, you can leave it as it is. If you prefer it to be a little longer, I always like my rib stitch to be a little longer, you know, to have a wide, nice wide rib stitch in the end. I always like to make a few extra rows. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new row by chaining 2 again. Turn your work, and starting from the very first stitch over here, work your half double crochet. Now starting from the next stitch, again we can see that this is a front post because it's coming outwards. So you're going to work a front post, next stitch is going to be a back post, so open up your stitch so it's more visible where you're going to push your hook around, okay? Front post, back post, and so on. In this row I'm going to complete the whole row of camera. where again the second before the last stitch is a back post double crochet, and the last stitch of the row, this one over here, it's going to be my half double crochet. I have completed crocheting the whole row as I mentioned before I turned my video off. Now I'm going to chain one so my project doesn't frog, and I'm going to show you what we have at this point. Okay, so this is how our jacket looks from the bottom going to the top. Now it will shrink a little bit over here, but this is due to the rib stitch that we just worked. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn our work on the side, and we're going to start working upwards to create the buttonholes. Now you have to be careful, because when you're crocheting a jacket or anything that needs buttons for male, okay, even if it's a boy or a man, whatever, we need the buttons to be on the right side of the project. And please don't get confused, because I'm showing the left side on the video. When you wear the jacket, this is the right side and this is the left, okay? So when you're crocheting for male, you want your buttons to be on your right side and the buttonholes on the left side. If you're crocheting for female, you want your buttons to be on the left side and your buttonholes on the right side, okay? So we are going to start crocheting straight up without making holes, because this is where my buttons are going to be, and then going downwards we're going to make our buttonholes. If you're crocheting for female, you're going to start with your buttonholes on this side, so whatever we're going to do on the other side, you're going to do on this side, and then you're going to go down working straight down, okay? So after my last half double crochet, I'm going to chain 2 and not 3, even though I'm going to crochet with double crochet. And this because I don't want to have a big hole, a big gap over here in the beginning. Okay, so chain 2 and turn on the side as I showed earlier to start working upwards. Okay, now I need all of your attention, because this is probably one of the hardest parts of the project in order to crochet correctly. Now, when we crochet horizontally on the stitches, okay, when we crochet on top of them horizontally, the half double crochet, comparing to single crochet and double crochet, if these rows were only single crochet, I would only have to go and work 1 stitch in every row, okay? In the first single crochet of every row, I would just go ahead and work 1 stitch. If these were double crochet, where in order to complete a double crochet you need 2 steps, 2 loops, and then the other 2 loops, in order to cover the distance of the stitch, I would need 2 stitches on top of it. Now, because the half double crochet, it's not a single crochet nor a double crochet, and if I crochet 1 stitch in every stitch, my work will shrink. If I crochet 2 stitches in every stitch, I would give increases and my work will start to wave up. What I'll need to do is work 1 stitch in the one row, 2 stitches in the other one, 1, 2, 1, 2, and I will have a nice, perfect result. Okay, so now I have worked my 2 chains, and put your hook in the first half double crochet right over here and work 1 double crochet. Please do not work under the stitches, because you're not going to have a nice result, okay? We need to have a nice, neat result. So put your hook in the half double crochet and work 1 double crochet. Now skip this hole over here, because this is not one of the chains that I need. If I turn my work, this right here is the last half double crochet of the row in which I have worked my last stitch. Okay, so this is not where I do not want to put my hook into. Okay, so after the half double crochet, right here I have the 2 chains in which I worked in the beginning of the rows. We're going to work 1 stitch in the first chain and 1 stitch in the second one. So 1 double crochet in the first chain and 1 double crochet in the second one. After that, we have the half double crochet right here. Put your hook right in the stitch and work 1 double crochet. After the half double crochet, I need my 2 chains, not here but here, 1 and 2, and work 1 double crochet in each of those 2 chains. 1, next chain, 2. Next stitch, I have my half double crochet in which I'm going to crochet 1 double crochet. Next, I have my 2 chains, the first one and the second one, in which I'm going to work 1 double crochet in each of those 2 chains. 1 and 2. Next stitch, I have my half double crochet right in here. Work 1 double crochet in the stitch. The next stitch, I have in the next row, I have my 2 chains, 1, 2. Put your hook in the first chain and work 1 double crochet and 1 double crochet right beneath it in the next chain. Okay, the next stitch sorry, the next stitch is my half double crochet, so put your hook in the stitch and work 1 half double crochet, and right after that I have my 2 chains, 1, 2. Work 1 double crochet in each of those 2 chains. 1 and the next chain, 2. So look what a nice and neat and straight result we have when we crochet on the stitches this way. Now, if as you lay down your project you see like a V where 2 stitches are too close to each other and they open up a little bit, this means that you might have worked 2 stitches in the same spot or way too close. If you have a big distance between your stitches, let's say like this, and you're seeing a hole when you place down your project, this means that you have skipped a stitch. Okay, so we do not want to have holes on our projects. So keep crocheting in the same exact way as we did so far. So 1 double crochet in the center right here of the half double crochet, and then we have our 2 chains, 1, 2. 1 on the half double crochet, 1 on each of the 2 chains. Keep working in this way, going upwards. Once I reach about the end over here, where I'm going to work in the half double crochet over here, right after that I have my 2 chains in the end, in which I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue from here on. I've reached the spot that I mentioned before I turned my video off, so I have crocheted in the half double crochet, and now I'm left with the last 2 chains of the last row. So put your hook in that first chain and work 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet in the next chain, and we have finished going upwards. Look how nice and neat and straight all my stitches look at this point. Okay, each stitch looks like it's next to each other, so this is how your project is supposed to look as well. So since I have finished going upwards, I'm going to turn clockwise and I'm going to start crocheting on the neckline. Okay, and since this right here is the last stitch in which I worked into, what I want to do now is I want to work in each of the chains that I worked in the beginning of my project. Okay, so this is where I just worked the last double crochet. So right here is my first chain, next chain, here, 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 here. And if you're afraid that you're going to miss your chains, just go ahead and find each of the stitches you worked in row 1, align it going downwards and put your hook in there. That's your chain. If this is the next stitch, a line going downwards, and right in there is where you're supposed to put your hook into. Okay, so just let me open up my window a little bit so you can understand where we're working at now. So we worked going upwards, okay, 1 double crochet in the stitches, and now we're working around the neckline, around here. Okay, this is why from here we turned clockwise to start working up here. Okay, so this is where I worked my last double crochet, so put your hook right in the next chain, right in the next chain over here, and work 1 double crochet. Next chain, 1 double crochet, next one, 1 double crochet, next one, 1 double crochet, next one, 1 double crochet. Okay, so we keep working 1 double crochet in every chain that we worked in the beginning of our project. Now once you reach your increase that you were doing in the beginning, and you can tell that this is the increase because in the same chain I see 2 half double crochet that I had worked into. You still work only 1 double crochet even when you reach your increases. Okay, so keep working 1 double crochet in every stitch all around the neckline, all around the neckline. Once I reach down here, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue. See what a nice curve I have right here that I worked 1 stitch in every stitch. This is what we want to have as a result on our jackets. Once I finish and I come back here, crochet the whole neckline, I'm going to turn my video back on. I'm almost done crocheting the neckline up here, and this is what we will have as a result. Okay, this is how your project is going to look like up here. Okay. Now let me zoom in, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to crochet the last stitch, and then I'm going to turn clockwise and start working downwards the buttonholes. Okay, so I have crocheted in the second before chain up here, work 1 last double crochet in the last chain up here in the corner, and then I'm going to turn clockwise, and I'm going to open up the jacket so you're not seeing the bottom side. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to crochet 1 double crochet on the first half double crochet up here going downwards. So this is the chain, and right in here in the half double crochet work 1 stitch. Now because we're working on the other side of the stitches, it might be a little difficult to see the chains, so please pay close attention, and if you have crocheted correctly you'll be able to see your stitches finally. So I'm going to work now 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 chains. This is not where you do not want to put your hook in here. This is not one of your chains. The chains are down here. Okay, so this is the first chain, and right beneath it is your second chain. So the 2 chains are right next to each other. Okay, now I'm going to create my first buttonhole. So I worked 1 in the first row, I worked 1 double crochet in the first stitch, in the first half double crochet. In the second row where I had my 2 chains, I worked 2 double crochet. Now in the third row I'm going to work my first buttonhole, and because this is for a baby. I do not want to create big buttonholes, so I'm only going to work one chain. If you still want to create smaller buttonholes, okay, you can always work one chain, but if you want to create bigger ones, you can work 2 chains and skip 2 stitches. As many chains as you work, this is how many stitches you're going to skip from your project. So I'm going to chain 1, and in order for me to be easy to count and not confuse myself, I'm working one chain and I'm skipping right over here where I have my 1 half double crochet. So I'm chaining 1, skip 1 half double crochet and keep crocheting. If you want to make bigger holes where you're going to skip 2 chains, work 2 chains to skip 2 stitches, work this half double crochet and skip the 2 where you have the 2 chains, okay? Make it easy for yourself to work. So I have worked 1 chain, I'm skipping the 1 half double crochet and go right ahead and work in your chains. This right here is not one of my chains. Okay, it's right beneath it, right over here. And after every buttonhole, I'm giving 8 stitch space between the buttonholes, okay? So I'm gonna work 8 stitches now. 1, the second chain, 2 on top of the half double crochet, 3 in each of the next 2 chains, again not here but right beneath it, 4 second chain, 5 on top of the half double crochet, 6 on the first chain, 7 on the second chain, 8. Okay, I worked my 8 stitch distance that I want to have between my buttonholes. So now again I'm going to chain 1, skip the half double crochet and go right ahead to crochet on top of the 2 chains. So first chain, 1, second chain, 2 on top of the half double crochet, 3 on the first chain, 4 second chain, 5 on the double crochet, 6 on the half double crochet, sorry, 6 in each of the next 2 chains, 7 second chain, 8. Now again I have my 8 stitch distance between, so I'm going to chain 1, skip the half double crochet and start crocheting on the chains. So first chain, 1 second chain, 2 on the half double crochet, 3 first chain, 4 second chain, 5 on the half double crochet, 6, okay, first chain, 7 second chain, 8, chain 1, skip the half double crochet, okay, skip the half double crochet and work again in each of the next 2 chains. 1 next chain, 2 on the half double crochet, 3 first chain, 4 second chain, 5 on the half double crochet, 6, first chain, 7, second chain, 8. Okay, and now I'm going to create my last buttonhole. So chain 1, skip the half double crochet, and work now correctly on your stitches going downwards. So skip the half double crochet, put your hook in each of the next 2 chains and work 1 double crochet. 1, second chain, 2. Now right here I have the double crochet, which is a double crochet when I started working for the rib stitch of my jacket. So we need 2 stitches to cover the distance of the double crochet. So work 1 double crochet down here in the bottom, right here in the center of the stitch, and 1 double crochet in the top of the stitch right over here. Then I have my 2 chains. Okay, they're not that visible, so please be aware where you are crocheting. You need to be able to understand your stitches. Okay, and don't just put your hook anywhere because you're seeing a hole and you think it's easy. In this way you're crocheting anywhere and you're not going to be able to understand where you're putting your hook correctly. Okay, so we do not want to put our hook here. It's not one of the chains, it's right beneath. Okay, and the second chain is right under it, not here because it seems easy. The next stitch is my half double crochet, so put your hook in the half double crochet. Oops, I worked a half double crochet, sorry. So put your hook in the half double crochet and work 1 double crochet. And finish your work, finish this side by working 1 double crochet in each of the last 2 chains. Again, not in here, but right beneath it. First chain, work 1 double crochet, and right next to it, right over here, is the last chain right here in the corner. And voila, we're finished. This side going downwards. So let's see what we have at this point. Okay, we have created our buttonholes and my last hole is right over here. Now, I'm a person who does not like to have buttons up until the end of the project. If you prefer to have a hole down here to hold this part closed like this, you can go ahead and work an extra hole down here. You can also have different distances between your buttonholes. It depends on what you like. There's no correct or wrong. Okay, I'm showing you what my way on how I would like to have my jacket. Now, on the female side, because we need our holes over here, this means you're going to start with the buttonholes. You need to count your stitches. Okay, you need, if you want to skip the rib stitch, okay, your first buttonhole is going to be somewhere around here. Count your stitches going upwards. Okay, and you might need to have to frog once or twice to figure out the correct amount of stitches you need to have in between of every buttonhole. Please don't get discouraged. It's not easy, but it's not hard as well. Okay, don't be afraid to frog your project if you need once or twice to figure out the stitches that you want to have the correct buttons on your project. Okay, so once we have finished going downwards, we are going to chain 1, turn our work and start going upwards again, and this is going to be the last row of the border all around. Okay, so again, chain 2, 1, 2, and turn your work. In the very first stitch, work 1 half double crochet, and in the next stitches we're going to start working the rib stitch. So in the next stitch I'm going to work a front post double crochet, and I'm not doing this step by step because we have already seen how to do the stitches. Okay, front post double crochet. My next stitch is a back post double crochet. Keep repeating, 1 front post, 1 back post, and I'm crocheting up until I reach the buttonhole. Okay, next stitch is a front post, then a back post, then a front post, and the stitch right before the hole is a back post. Now in the 1 chain that I have given distance for the buttonhole, I'm going to work 1 half double crochet in the chain. The reason that I work 1 half double crochet instead of a double crochet is because when we work front posts and back posts, the total height of the double crochet is equal to that of a half double crochet. So this is why I work a half double crochet, and as you can see, it goes straight away. Okay, now since the stitch before the half double crochet was a back post, if this were correctly without holes, this stitch would be a front post. So starting from the next stitch, I'm going to work a back post double crochet. Next stitch is a front post. Okay, then back post, back, front. Okay, then you're gonna work your half double crochet, and because this is a front and this would be a back post double crochet, starting from over here you're gonna have a front post double crochet, back post, front, back, front, back, your half double crochet, and if this were a regular stitch you would have your front post, so again start with a back post, and so on. Okay, once I reach the last buttonhole where I'm going to work my last half double crochet, I'm going to turn my video back on. I'm almost done going upwards. I've crocheted my half double crochet in the last buttonhole, and because the previous stitch before the half double crochet was a back post, I'm going to continue by working 1 back post double crochet, then 1 front post, 1 back post in the stitch after that. Okay, so keep working 1 front post, 1 back post up until you complete now the whole neckline. Okay, so we are over here. Keep working 1 front post, 1 back post around all of the neckline, and then keep working going downwards as well. Okay, 1 front post, 1 back post, and this is the last row going around. Then we're going to work the sleeves. Okay, once I have crocheted in the last stitch, where it will be in the second before last, sorry, which will be either a front post or a back post, I'm going to turn my video back on to crochet the last stitch together, which is going to be a half double crochet.